So that's why I think when we're fully focused on what we're doing within each moment of what really spikes that curiosity and what we want to dive into and what we're naturally pulled to is the right thing to do right now, because the passion is just always going to change, or you'll get a new idea or a new opportunity will come on your plate, but it's about doing what you're really pulled to right now. And specifically, I want to just highlight on like what you really want to learn right now. Like, what are you really curious about learning, and start diving into that. Yeah, just moved from Brooklyn out to New Jersey.
What made the transition there?
Some new job opportunities, some new people I'm working with around personal branding and coaching. So, plus I've just been in Brooklyn for too long. I feel been there for maybe like 10 months. I feel I'm becoming just more nomadic. When I'm in a place for too long, I get like kind of antsy. I can feel like the energetical shifts in me.
Gotcha. So for everybody who doesn't know who you are, why don't you give yourself an introduction and what you've been up to?
Excellent. What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle Mogged, also known as the Zen Wizard, and basically my life surrounds meditation, learning to master my every moment of watching my thoughts and emotions, fitness, everything health-wise, of working out, learning how to attain a aesthetic physique, along with curating the perfect lifestyle diet that's for optimizing and that's enjoyable, and then personal branding, pretty much of learning for myself and how to teach others of how to simply and efficiently gain the most attention while using the most relative social media platforms, and gaining the most awareness so that they can have more impact and more influence with whatever their mission and message is.
Gotcha. So I have a couple topics that I do want to visit for sure, because I've been wanting to ask questions around it quite a bit for a while now. First thing though, why don't you tell us a little bit about Radiance Fest and what's going on there?
All right, cool. Yeah, so Radiance Festival, well, the idea for Radiance Festival started out as just making kind of a Zen EDM festival, which I kind of planted that seed freshman year of college a couple years ago, of seeing a lot of my friends go to EDM festivals, and just taking a lot of drugs and viewing that as their escape from reality, part-time in school and doing part-time jobs, and then just saving up a bunch of money, spending hundreds for just one long weekend of excessive drinking, drugs, and just partying it up. And so I started getting into deep into my mindful meditation practice around that time. And so I saw my friends doing this and saw them looking at it as an escape from reality, which, you know, when you're dancing, enjoying yourself with friends in an environment that you like, it's actually when you're present. So they have it asked backwards in their mind. So I just wanted to create kind of like a festival sometime down the road in the future, because it was aligned with what I was doing anyways, to provide them to see that this is actually when we are present, and to teach more of like meditation and stuff that goes into wellness while in a fun, upbeat, energetical environment. And so then after, let's see, where should I take this journey next? So that's when I just planted the seed. So I always thought that was going to be more of a long-term vision, like more of like the 5-year plan kind of thing. After I established my brand and established myself for what I was aiming to do around teaching fitness and teaching meditation, and then growing my brand and forming my company, and then starting a festival. And then when I was in New York working for Gary Vaynerchuk, did that for 4 months, really learned on how to really watch the market. And that started to me looking in depth of where the mindfulness and wellness market was at the time, and watched it evolve over, 4-year time frame, and then was able to kind of capitalize on where the market currently was, with everyone really getting into mindfulness, wanting to, really get in tune with themselves and start watching their emotions and getting more into that space, while the EDM market at the same time was big and booming, as it still is. And so I came around the right group of people that all were aligned on the same mission. And then we're like, fuck it, let's just start our own festival. Because I originally wanted to I came up with the chakra dance, which I perform as a standing meditation, get everyone grounded, activate their chakras. We get into an upbeat energetical dance to like modern EDM music, and then break out into an ecstatic physical dance. And so my original vision was to just partner with a DJ and go perform that at different festivals, teaching meditation to the collective who are doing just the kind of standard EDM festivals right now. And then as on my quest for kind of like looking for and manifesting a DJ, that DJ ended up being in relations with all the other people that were aligned with the same mission. So on that quest of searching for someone to partner with to perform at festivals, I actually found the people that I went on and founded my own festival with. And so we've had 2 successful festivals thus far, and the third one is to be announced at some point in 2019. I intuitively think it'll be sometime spring, end of spring, early summer, possibly. We still have to meet up and chat about the next one. So yeah.
So how many festivals a year do you think you're going to do next year then?
I'm not sure. It's just the way it all kind of happened was just so naturally. And then even after, because even the first one, because the approach that we had was super new and different. And so the first one was like, all right, well, let's just throw this together and see if it's a success or failure and see what happens. And so it went well. And then afterwards, we're like, we can really keep this going. And then 4 months later, we threw our second one. Because I always thought it was kind of lame of only hosting like one festival per year, especially if you're really trying to make an impact in the community that you build within that festival. You want to do more things throughout the year to get that community to come together and help accelerate the message of what you're trying to spread from forming this kind of festival. So it seems every like 4 months we've been doing a festival. So I'm not exactly sure I can answer that right now, but just for Visionary, I feel like once a year we'll have like a real big festival, and I'm sure we'll break it down into like subcategory festivals of, our New York-based community will have kind of smaller festivals throughout the year, or just community meetups of some sort of size and extent, and then we have one where it's just like everyone comes in for the one big grand festival.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
yeah, I've been really interested watching that kind of grow, especially because taking something that, like you said, was kind of ass backwards and doing something that you enjoy that should make you more present, and then adding things to it to take you away from the presence. It's just trying to get people to shift into do things that heighten your awareness, not pull you away, and make it more of a reality check grounding environment instead of an escapism type thing. So I found that super fascinating.
Appreciate that.
So in an interview you did, I can't remember which one of your friends' podcast it was, but I think you were the first guest where he interviewed you. And you talked a little bit about moving towards your passion and kind of finding whatever it is you're passionate about, and then finding more ways to interact with it.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard you talk a lot about listening to your emotions and your thoughts and be more aware of where your brain's going and stuff. How do you recommend people identify their passion or identify the things that excite them in life? Because one thing I've noticed a lot with interacting with people is a lot of people stop dreaming or thinking about what they're passionate about because life has gotten them so far away from that they can't even identify it to move towards it.
I feel like our passions just inevitably change over time, and so why I think it's so important for us to kind of start to dip into our awareness and see what we're really pulled to right now in this moment of time, of seeing where our current situation is and kind of what we're going through. And I feel it's really just starting with what naturally pulls you, starting in a broad sense of what markets kind of pull you or what activities pull you or hobbies. And then combined with like what you're curious about learning, because I feel like that's the number one like small micro key to start out with. Like what you're curious about learning is going to lead you to what you're going to be passionate about doing later on. Because that's why even like for me, everything started with just an obsessive curiosity towards some sort of craft. And then diving into learning and then experiencing and doing and then teaching and forming a business around it. And that started with me for fitness, back in like middle school years back of just the first initial motivation was to, get a six pack so I can get some ladies.
Yep.
And then it transferred to, I just enjoyed naturally of learning how to sculpt my physique in different ways, of just the creative freedom I had within working out in the gym and within the kitchen, of the different nutrition kind of styles you can have. And so just through my passion of curiosity of learning more, and then practicing and doing, and then the market of people who saw what I was doing as sharing and documenting my learning process on social media, then people would come to me of like, hey, I'll pay you to train me, or pay you for like a meal plan or something. And then that happened with videography. I liked making videos because they were fun. And I began my video career of being an actor. I liked making comedy videos, and they started to get popular in my area. And then people started to ask for videos in exchange for money. Like, yeah. So me and my buddy started a film company because we like.
Sure, you're gonna pay me. Why not?
Yeah. So we started a film company around just because we liked making videos, and then so I did that with video and personal training. And then as soon as I got into meditation, my spiritual journey began, which was about 4 years ago. And I just became so curious about finding more about myself and about the ego, is which I started off reading all of Eckhart Tolle's work, which is all on the evolution of ego and humanity. And I've always had some like a philosophical kind of mindset of questioning things throughout my life. So I just became obsessed with meditation and energy. And so those are the kind of books that I read, and those are the kind of things that I practiced and did. And then documenting and putting that kind of stuff out there through my brand allowed the market to see what I was doing over time. And then they came to me, making me a meditation teacher. It's not like I never did any meditation course or anything like that. I just, had a curiosity towards the craft.
You didn't take that in high school?
No.
It's not a gym elective?
Surprisingly. And then the market came to me and, wanted to pay me to learn about meditation, which what I was curious about, and then learned about, and then practiced, and then became a teacher. And then, a never-ending student, as always. But so it was always started with what I was curious about learning, and that just lit the fire into my ass to read and study and practice. And then being aware of the importance of branding and putting yourself out there and building my personal brand over time, which allowed the market to see what I was doing, to see what I was gaining expertise around, and then to come to me, and then be forming a business around that and different businesses. And then, so that's why I think when we're fully focused on what we're doing within each moment of what really spikes that curiosity and what we want to dive into and what we're naturally pulled to, is the right thing to do right now, because the passion is just always going to change, or you'll get a new idea or a new opportunity will come on your plate. But it's about doing what you're really pulled to right now. And specifically, I want to just highlight on like what you really want to learn right now. Like, what are you really curious about learning, and start diving into that. And I think our passions are just going to be revealed to us over time as we are patient and as we are consistently working down this road.
So once you identify where your curiosity lies, how would you recommend somebody start documenting their journey of learning and discovery? Because I feel like a lot of people are kind of self-conscious and need permission to say, hey, yeah, you suck, but you're curious, so show everybody how bad you suck in the beginning, and then show them the progression of you getting better. Like, I don't think a lot of people can wrap their head around contextually what that actually means on a social level.
Yeah, around specifically just like documenting within someone's like personal brand on social media.
Yeah, like say someone's like, well, I want to play music. I've never played a guitar before. So how do I take the journey of me becoming a guitarist or a lyricist and make a brand out of that?
Well, if someone has the idea of like the random vision they get of wanting to be a guitarist or wanting to do that, because this brings me back to maybe if people are like younger, or they have a vision of want to be. But even of just thinking of documenting like the main thing you're into right now that you're going to put your time and energy into, and just putting it out there, even if you're going to be a failed guitarist or singer or something. I think it's just interesting to start putting out content around what you're really into doing right now. and kind of, and the perception on that of putting it around, documenting your brand around it is like, because your brand is kind of for you. That's why it's cool looking through my Instagram. I never really delete any of my old photos to make my aesthetic of my layout look good. Because it's,
I hate it when people do that shit.
yeah, all of a sudden they have 11 posts in their feed. It's like, oh.
I knew what you looked like with the lampshade on your head at that party 7 years ago. You can't hide that from my memory.
Yeah, so I think it's just cool because it's just our process of evolving as humans. Going back and seeing like a section in my feed of like, oh, this was really when I was, a fitness enthusiast. And then this is when I got into meditation, or, way back, this was just when I was with my friends and family, and my relationship was the main part of my life. So it describes, because I like to view my life in different like micro seasons, and view them of like, what was the main emotion I was going through in that season, and what was I doing at the time, and then how did that transition to what I evolved into being. So I think the cool part of just the creative freedom of having your own personal brand is that we are our own brand directors. And so we can always rebrand ourselves when something internally changes, if we choose to take a new directive or we get a new opportunity that totally changes our lives. And then just documenting the whole process. Because it's interesting for me of, coming from fitness, and then like videography, and then Gary Vee, and then getting like deep into spirituality, and meditation, and now rebranding myself to bring it full circle, of everything that I've been doing, of now fitness and meditation and personal branding, is how I'm rebranding myself now. And so we just have the power to always change it. So I think we're missing out on opportunities if we don't pick something which is based off of what we're pulled to do or learn, and have a cool, fun idea of how we can brand ourselves that way, and then put the content out. And then, and at the end of the day, the market's going to tell you if they like it or not. And so you're going to be basing your content off of what resonates with everyone, and what you personally like, and the content you personally like to put out. Like my brand is the Zen Wizard, which I describe, the Zen Wizard as an evolved ego, and I'm creating his personal identity, his character, which I feel is based off of a lot of Johnny Depp actors, and different comedians that I grew up watching and loving, and just the way I naturally am. And so I feel like he's a egoic personal identity that I'm creating, of what message and my kind of overall mission, the idea of the mission that I'm around, that is also going to, resonate with the market. And then I'll tailor my content to see, based off of what feedback I get over time. But I think it's just about starting with what you have right now, what you're pulled to do, and then just putting it out there, because I think it's just interesting for you to watch. And you never know what it's going to grow into, and you never know the opportunities that are going to come into your DMs.
So how do you prevent overcorrection when listening to the market? Because I know for myself, I've experienced it, and talking to other people who've experienced it, where you've put 50 posts up, you don't get the interaction that you expected. So then you're like, oh crap, should I do something completely different now? Should I stay on my path? How do you learn how to interpret that and not overcorrect and completely become something you don't want to be just for the sake of the attention?
Yeah. When it comes to especially building your personal brand, building brand in general is just always a long-term play. So to not let the little daily posts of like, shit, I didn't get 100 likes, or like, I thought this video was going to pop and it freaking didn't, it's being aware of those little egoic thoughts that pop in of, you wanting that, which is usually due to comparison of others having big things, or, and just the millennial generation of like the quick fix of like, we want everything so quick, we want to have a lot of money right now. We want to have a lot of attention right now. We want to be famous and get all these things and accomplish of what we truly desire right now. And it's just about like slowing down, and especially just being aware that we're building this for the long term. I've spent like, sometimes an Instagram piece of content will take me like 8 hours and then like get a couple hundred views, and it's like, I could be like, damn it, like what the hell.
I could have put a puppy up and got 7,000 views.
Yeah, but that's why when you're creating for your brand, it should be, creating in the way that you love to create. So it's like, even if I've made, spent a lot of time, put about a lot of, time and energy and love into this video or into this piece of content of like going and shooting and developing the whole thing. You know, it's about really, I think the biggest understatement is enjoying the journey. And so if you're putting out content and creating, like, don't you love to edit videos? Don't you love to take photos? You know, don't we love, we're creatures of creation. We're here to create. So just really slowing down and not getting pulled into the nitty gritty of, you know, the attention of likes and views and followers, getting away from the numbers and just putting out what you want to put out. And then, you know, and then if you really want to, you know, accelerate your growth, like, educate yourself, you know, talk to some people who do Instagram growth hacking, or, you know, but just know that it's a long-term play. And in my experience, because I used to be like that, I wanted to like grow so quick because I want to build a brand and I want to gain some more attention and make some money and be famous and be the Zen wizard. But I've really learned over time, especially working with Gary Vee, of slowly and organically growing, because I've realized the power of building an in-depth relationship with each new follower and each people who really cares about your kind of content, and what that really does for you long term. So you're just trying to get quick numbers, but what if each and every one of those numbers you had a good relationship with? So if you put out, you know, a program or a course or a book, like, everyone supports you so much, even if they don't want to read it, they might buy it because they just support what you're doing. They support the mission. And so I think that's more important. I think we should put our time and energy into impacting the current attention that we have, and then, you know, work to grow that. And I like to grow it in an accelerated way. So that's, you know, reading books around it or watching others' content. I think that's the best way of, like, I started in college, I started following the 10 people who just influenced me the most, and they kind of, I idolized them of what I kind of wanted to become. And I just watched them. I watched the way they market. I watched the content they put up. I watched the kind of things that they were saying, and how they evolved and adapted to change, and how well that they adapted to change. And so that helped how I branded myself and did all those things. And that's how I learn. You know, we all learn in different ways, and the main way I learn is by observing people, and observing pages and stuff like that. But it's just about, like, coming to the decision, like, putting it out there that this is, like, what you want to put out, loving the creation process, and don't get caught up in the numbers game. But no, this is a long-term play, and just to, you know, watch the beauty of how it unfolds.
No, I really love that. And like I said, I was mainly asking for myself, but I was also asking for for other people.
It's hard.
I'd love to keep going, but we're already pushing the time envelope a little bit.
Okay.
And I got to stay on schedule.
Of course.
Hopefully we can work out around 2 once you get a little bit more settled and everything else, because I know you have a lot more to offer everybody.
100%.
So I appreciate your time, man.
Dude, thank you so much. Glad we can make this work. Let's continue this relationship and see what the future has.
No, absolutely. Thanks again for being on, Kyle.
Yeah, much love, Mike. Have a good one. Peace, everybody.
You too.